Hi guys, welcome back to Movie Recap. In this video, I'm going to recap one of the films from 2010, The Next 3 Days. Without any further, let's get started. Late one night in the heart of the city, college professor John Brennan drives through empty streets with a dying man slumped in the passenger seat. As panic sets in, the story rewinds to how everything went wrong. 3 years earlier, John lives a quiet suburban life with his wife Lara and their young son Luke. One ordinary morning, after taking her insulin shot, Lara notices blood on her jacket and heads to the sink to wash it off. Before she can finish, police burst into the house and arrest her for murder. Despite insisting on her innocence, Lara is convicted and sentenced to life in prison. John is left to raise Luke alone. Still, he refuses to give up, spending years appealing the case and bringing Luke to visit his mother, even as the boy slowly grows distant from her.
What are you gonna build today?
3 months ago, John reviews the evidence one last time with his lawyer. Lara recalls bumping into an unknown woman who lost a button, but there's no proof to track her down. The case against Lara is overwhelming. A coworker saw her near the scene, the victim's blood is on her clothes, and her fingerprints are on the murder weapon. The lawyer admits the truth. No appeal will ever free her. Devastated, John fires him. When John tells Lara the news, she breaks down instantly. That night, he receives a call saying she's been rushed to the hospital. After arguing his way inside, John finds her handcuffed to a bed, her wrist bandaged, revealing she tried to take her own life. In that moment, John makes a decision. He will get Lara out, no matter the cost. Crossing into illegal territory, John studies prison breaks and seeks out Damon Pennington, a notorious escape artist who broke out of prison 7 times. Though Damon doubts John's story, he gives him crucial advice for a price. Disrupt the prison's routine, avoid airports and stations, leave from another state, use fake documents, pay only in cash, and have enough money to survive 5 years on the run. But 2 challenges stand above all others: navigating Pittsburgh's bridges, which conceal the city within 15 minutes, and accepting the hardest truth of all: he may have to abandon his family forever or kill to succeed. The moment John returns home, obsession takes over. He claims an entire wall and turns it into a battlefield of intent. Maps, photographs, scribbled calculations, and pinned clues slowly forming a plan that consumes him. Every visit to Lara in jail becomes reconnaissance. He notices everything: an elevator with a keyhole that shouldn't be there, maintenance workers fixing a ceiling leak, delivery trucks arriving like clockwork each day. His desperation bleeds into his daily life. He studies the data on his laptop while lecturing students, barely hiding his fixation, and quietly puts his house up for sale to fund a future that may never come. To obtain fake documents, John ventures into a dangerous neighborhood, buying OxyContin as a cover while pressing dealers for contacts who can forge high-quality passports. After several dead ends, one man finally points him toward a bar, where John walks straight into a setup meant to leave him robbed. From the shadows, a strange man named Mike watches the entire scene unfold. Days later, John returns to the neighborhood, this time tailed by 2 motorcycles. That night, his doorbell rings. Mike is standing there, calm, smiling, offering his services. John hands over photographs and an advance payment, then firmly tells him never to come back to the house again. They'll meet elsewhere. Mike agrees, but leaves him with a warning. If John's late for the pickup, he should run. Next, John buys a gun. He asks the seller how to use it. When Wednesday arrives, John goes to the agreed location and waits far longer than he should. A car parked nearby eventually drives off. Only then does Mike appear, furious. That car, he tells John, belonged to a cop. Mike hands over the forged papers and delivers a final warning. John wants this too badly, and desperation always leads to mistakes. John's next move is learning to make a bump key, capable of opening almost any lock. Following an online tutorial, he decides to test it during his next visit to Lara. At security, he drops the bump key into the bowl with his regular keys. The metal detector clears him. As he retrieves the bowl, he subtly hides the key in his palm before the officer can inspect it. Guided down the hallway with the other visitors, John deliberately stays at the back. When he reaches the elevator, he inserts the key. It snaps. Half of it lodges inside the lock. Panic floods his face as he discreetly discards the broken piece in his hand and plays dumb, waiting for the inevitable. A guard arrives. The elevator is inspected. Every visitor is questioned. When the officer reviews the security footage, he points at the screen. John was at the back of the line, just outside the camera's clear view. Suspicion hangs heavy, but suspicion isn't evidence. John is released. The moment he steps outside, he collapses and vomits. Across the way, Detective Quinn watches and takes note. Unaware that Quinn is quietly watching his every move, John begins dismantling his life piece by piece, selling off his furniture, shutting out his brother whenever he comes by to check on him. One afternoon, while taking Luke to the park, they're invited to a birthday party for one of Luke's friends, a small reminder of a normal life John no longer knows how to live. Back in obsession mode, John resumes his investigation. When a new vehicle pulls up at the prison, something finally clicks: the medical vans. He dives into research, studying Lara's type of diabetes, tracking the van's schedules, and even learning online how to unlock a car door using nothing but a tennis ball. The next day, he puts the method to use, breaking into a medical van long enough to photograph Lara's test results. Later, he digitally alters the files, making her condition appear far worse than it really is. On his next visit, Lara delivers devastating news. In just 3 days, she'll be transferred to a maximum security facility. Everything John has planned suddenly collapses under the weight of time. He needs money fast, but the house hasn't sold yet. Desperate, he grabs his gun and drives to a bank, fully intending to rob it. Standing there, though, he realizes he can't cross that line. He leaves without pulling the trigger. Instead, John visits Lara again. He tells her he's filing an appeal and admits he's been neglecting Luke. Lara explodes, furious that John refuses to accept the truth, clinging to a fantasy where she can still be saved. To force him to let go, she confesses, coldly, that she did kill her coworker. Then she walks away. But even now, John refuses to believe her. He demands another visit and swears he'll get her out, no matter what it costs. That night, driven by sheer desperation, John returns to the dangerous neighborhood he's been circling for days. He follows a dealer back to his supplier's house, Alex. When he sees an opening, John lunges, dragging the dealer inside. A guard dog attacks, sinking its teeth into John's leg. Bleeding but relentless, John pulls his gun, forces Alex to lock away the dog and his partner, and demands the money. They hand over what little cash they have. Alex smirks. He doesn't think John has it in him. After all, he couldn't even shoot the dog. John proves him wrong by setting the house on fire with a bottle of whiskey. Panicking, Alex screams that his kid is upstairs and rushes for his gun. John follows, using the dealer as a human shield. When Alex fires, the dealer takes the bullet meant for John. As Alex raises the gun again, John shoots first. Ransacking the house, John finally finds what he came for, a bag stuffed with cash. But as he's about to leave, he discovers the dealer is still alive, barely breathing, begging for help. The story circles back to the beginning. John drives with the bleeding dealer in his car, a broken taillight swinging loose. He considers taking him to a hospital, but hesitates too long. The dealer dies in the passenger seat. John dumps the body at a bus stop and drives to a remote parking lot, cutting a hole in a fence before disappearing into the night. By morning, Alex's house is reduced to ashes. Police swarm the scene, discovering bloodstains on the floor and fragments of a shattered taillight, the first quiet clues to the violence that unfolded there. That night, John stays at his parents' house. When his father goes to put away John's bag, he finds the plane tickets and instantly understands what his son is planning. The next morning feels final. John makes sure Luke hugs his grandparents a little longer than usual, knowing it will be the last time. His father pulls him into a quiet, heavy embrace, offering a goodbye filled with unspoken regret. John is ready. He packs his things, then destroys every trace of his plan, dividing the paperwork into 2 trash bags and discarding them separately. He stops by the medical center and cuts all phone lines, severing the hospital from the outside world. Next, he breaks into the van and swaps Lara's real blood test results with the falsified ones he prepared earlier, before dropping Luke off at Carr's birthday party. Calmly, he tells the girl's mother that Luke has his grandparents' number in his jacket, just in case he runs late. At the hospital, doctors review the altered test results. Unable to confirm them due to the dead phone lines, they order Lara to be transferred for observation. Meanwhile, the police trace a broken taillight back to John. When they search his home, they find his planning wall dismantled, stripped bare in a way that feels deliberate and unsettling. Then word comes in. Lara is being transferred. The detectives immediately request escorts and rush to the hospital, realizing John's endgame. They're too late. John arrives first, slipping into Lara's room disguised in a doctor's coat. He pulls a gun on the officers, forcing them to uncuff Lara before tying them up instead. But Lara refuses to go. Desperate, John hands her his phone and offers her a choice: to call Luke and tell him that neither of his parents is coming back. Faced with the unbearable, Lara breaks. She agrees to escape and changes into the clothes John brought for her. They step into the elevator just as a nurse spots them leaving the room and calls for security. In the lobby, detectives are waiting. John presses another floor button at the last second. When the doors open upstairs, he drops their coats by the stairwell, then gets back into the elevator. The police take the bait and race down the stairs toward the parking lot, while John and Lara quietly return to the lobby and slip out through the front entrance. Outside, John turns his jacket inside out, blending them into a crowd of Pittsburgh Penguins fans heading for the station. They make it onto the subway moments before the detectives arrive. Knowing the next station will be swarming with cops, John suddenly pulls the emergency brake. The train screeches to a halt beside the same parking lot he scouted nights earlier. They slip through a hole John cut in the fence and climb into the car he'd already hidden there. They cross the first bridge just in time. Now, only Luke remains. But when John reaches Carr's house, he realizes his fatal oversight. The birthday party is at the zoo. Luke isn't there. As police tear through John's neighborhood and recover one of the trash bags filled with shredded plans, John drives toward the zoo, then suddenly changes direction. He believes it's too late. Luke can be picked up by his grandparents later. They can come back for him someday. Lara refuses. She opens the car door and leans her head toward the rushing road, daring John to stop her. After nearly colliding with a truck, John slams on the brakes. He breaks down. They reconnect. He chooses his son. They race to the zoo, retrieve Luke, and face one final obstacle: a checkpoint. John improvises, stopping at a train station and offering a ride to an elderly couple. The guards are only searching for a young couple with a child, so the car passes through untouched. After dropping the elders off, they head to a Canadian airport. They clear passport control seconds before their faces appear on the wanted list. A shift change saves them. The new guard has no idea they're already inside. Back home, detectives piece together the shredded documents and find an image of Haiti. Flights are halted, but it leads nowhere. Detective Quinn realizes the truth. John left that half of the plan behind on purpose. It was a decoy. The family boards a plane, not to Haiti, but to Venezuela. Days later, John, Lara, and Luke are living peacefully in Caracas. Quinn returns to the crime scene with a new theory. On the night of the murder, it had been raining, something no one had considered. Lara claimed she moved the murder weapon, a fire extinguisher, out of the way and got blood on her jacket. She never saw the body, but as she fled, she bumped into the killer and lost a button from her coat, one that was never recovered. If it rained that night, the water could have carried the button into the drain. Quinn checks. The drain is empty, but just beyond reach, barely visible, the button is still there. Lara was innocent all along. Thanks for watching, and remember to turn on your notifications to watch more movie recaps like this one.